So the Ascension lawsuit just took its first real step forward since the complaint dropped. And while I was reading through what actually moved, I realized something. The whole first wave of coverage, mine included, led with the dramatic stuff, the RICO claims, the Russian servers, the racketeering language, and almost nobody actually dug into the part of this complaint that I think is the most revealing of all, which is the money. So let me catch you up on what's new, and then let's actually look at the part everyone skipped. And as always, if you think I'm reading any of this wrong, tell me in the comments. Because this is a live case and I'm working from the same public filings, you can go and read yourself, so push back if you see it differently. Here's the new development, and I want to be precise about it because it's easy to overstate. A summons was filed in the case just a few days ago. In plain terms, a summons is the formal notice that officially tells a defendant they are being sued and starts the clock on their deadline to respond. Federal rules give them 21 days from being served to either file an answer or a motion, and if they just ignore it, Blizzard can ask the court for a default judgment, which is basically a win by no-show. So what this tells us is that the defendants are now being formally served and the clock has started. What it does not tell us, and I want to be really clear about this because some coverage is going to blur it, is that the defendants have not responded yet. The summons is not Ascension firing back, it's the paperwork that opens the door for them to. The actual response, the answer, or the motion to dismiss, that's the next real beat in this case. And based on that 21-day window, it should land in the next few weeks. That's the thing worth waiting for, so that's the news. The case is live, it's moving, the clock is ticking. Now let me show you the part that I think is genuinely more interesting than any of the racketeering headlines. Buried in this 51-page complaint, underneath all the RICO drama, is a description of how Ascension allegedly handled money. And once you see it, you can't unsee how strange it is. According to the complaint, the operation didn't just take donations through a normal channel. Blizzard alleges the money ran through a structure of shell companies, two of them specifically, one registered in Nevada and one in New Mexico, and here's the detail that jumps out. Blizzard claims neither company has any actual offices or any employees. The addresses listed for them aren't real places of business. They're the addresses of corporate registration services, the kind of thing you use to set a company up on paper without it really existing anywhere. The complaint alleges these shells existed basically as a conduit for the money and a way to keep the operator's personal finances tangled up with the server's revenue. And then there's the revenue itself, which is the detail I keep coming back to. Ascension allegedly ran its income through something it called donation points. You bought these points for around 50 cents each, with bonus points if you spent more than $15 at once, and then you spent them in the shop on mounts, on pets, on cosmetic gear. So you're paying real money for a premium currency and trading that currency for cosmetic items. Does that sound familiar? Because it should, and this is the part that genuinely makes me laugh. That is, almost beat for beat, the exact model Blizzard itself just rolled out on live World of Warcraft. They launched a brand new premium currency called Hearthsteel, which you buy with real money through your Battle.net balance at a rate of $1 for 100 Hearthsteel, and then you spend it on cosmetic housing items. That $75 treehouse bundle everyone was furious about a couple of months ago. That's 7,500 Hearthsteel. So Blizzard is, in this very lawsuit, describing Ascension's cash shop as evidence of a criminal enterprise while running a nearly identical premium currency for cosmetic shop of its own and charging $75 for a digital treehouse on top of a subscription you're already paying. Now, I want to be careful that you don't take the wrong lesson from that, because the monetization isn't actually the thing Ascension is in trouble for, and it isn't the thing they should be in trouble for. Selling cosmetics for premium currency is not by itself some great evil. Blizzard does it, half the industry does it. The thing that makes Ascension's situation indefensible, and let me just be plain about this because I don't think it's genuinely a gray area, is that they built that entire cash shop on top of Blizzard's intellectual property. The code, the art, the world, the assets, all of it belongs to Blizzard, and Ascension never had any license or any right to use it, let alone to charge money around it. That part isn't really in dispute, it's just what a private server is. So when people frame this as Blizzard bullying a harmless fan project, I think that misses it. You can love what the private scene makes and still be honest that running a paid operation on somebody else's copyrighted game is not a close call. And there's one more piece that genuinely made me stop because it's the kind of detail you don't expect in a corporate lawsuit. The complaint talks about a group that allegedly handled the actual payments, and Blizzard says in the filing itself that it cannot yet determine whether this payment group is even a real legal entity or just an informal association of people. They literally tell the court they'll have to amend the complaint later, once they figure out what this thing even is. Think about that for a second. The company suing here has some of the best lawyers money can buy, and even they're sitting there going, "We genuinely don't know what this payment operation legally is. We'll get back to you." That's the part that tells you how murky the money side of this scene can get. And it's also honestly part of why the racketeering framing exists at all. When you've got shell companies with no employees and a payment processor nobody can identify. That's the kind of structure that lets a plaintiff reach for the organized crime statutes. Which brings me to the thing I want to be careful about, because it's the most sensational part and the most misunderstood. Yes, this complaint includes racketeering claims, the same kind of statutes originally written for organized crime. But these are civil RICO claims, not criminal ones, and that distinction matters a lot. Nobody is going to prison over a civil RICO claim. Civil RICO is also notoriously hard to actually win. Courts are quite skeptical of it, and plenty of civil RICO claims get thrown out or narrowed before they ever reach a jury. So when you see headlines framing this as Blizzard accusing these people of being a criminal organization, just keep in mind that's the allegation. In a civil filing, by one side, and it's a high bar to clear, it may well not survive the defendant's response, we'll see. And that's the distinction I'd hold on to through all of this. The core of it, the using Blizzard's IP without permission, that part is pretty clear cut, and I'm not going to pretend it's some open question, because it isn't. But the spicier stuff, the racketeering, the shell companies allegedly laundering money, the framing of these people as a coordinated criminal enterprise, all of that is still just Blizzard's side of the story. It's a complaint, which is one party making its best case before the other party has said a single word back, and those specific claims have to actually be proven, and the people named are entitled to a defense before anyone treats the worst version of this as settled fact. So guilty of running an unlicensed operation on Blizzard's game. Yeah, that's not really in question. A racketeering enterprise straight out of a crime drama. That's the allegation, and it's a long way from proven. So where does that leave us? The case is officially moving now, the defendants are being served, and the clock is running. The next genuine development, the one actually worth making noise about, is their response, whether they fight the claims, try to get the case dismissed, or settle quietly the way the turtle operators eventually did. That should come in the next few weeks, and when it does, that's when we find out whether any of this financial architecture stuff holds up under pressure or falls apart. Until then, what we've got is a very detailed, very one-sided story about money moving through companies that may not really exist, told by a plaintiff who admits it doesn't fully understand the structure it's describing, which is, I think, a more interesting story than the racketeering headline, and a lot closer to what this case is actually about. So I'm curious where you land on this one. Does the money side change how you see Ascension at all? Or does the fact that it mirrors Blizzard's own cash shop just make the whole thing feel a bit hollow? Let me know in the comments below. This case is going to keep moving over the next few weeks, and I'll be covering every real development as it happens. So if you want to actually follow where this goes, subscribing is the way to not miss it. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, take care